You should have.
We've had it.
You got a couple copies.
Yeah.
This is the finance thing, so we need the finance chair's not here yet. Did you put that?
I will.
Anything for him? Yeah. Anything yet? Yes. How's Charlotte?
You're good.
Is she doing good?
Yeah, that's how they do it,
Good.
it's, lack of sleep and.
And you sleep?
Yeah.
I was very fortunate.
Yeah, when I do sleep, it's not good sleep.
Not about that anymore.
No, that's for sure. It's a different life.
For the rest of your lifetime, not even the next 18, 21, 35 years, 60, for the rest of your life, right? It'll stay very interesting.
Year till the sleep.
So let's be choice.
Oh. I still don't sleep.
It's like a different kind of experience. You work here and then back here. It's interesting.
Are you just, I'm usually always. We would love.
Oh, thank you. It's like
Don't go outside.
New Year.
Good evening, everyone. I would like to call to order the Finance Committee. And we will continue our budget discussion. This evening, we will discuss some of the outstanding questions and answers. And then they were to ask for some presentation. And then we'll go into broad discussion. Commissioner, you just want to walk us through these question and answers?
So the council provided a list of questions from last budget hearing last week. Any particular questions or concerns, please let me know.
They changed it. Thank you.
Commissioner, question 4 through 7. Are you still working on these?
From our, there are no invoices that remain outstanding. We spoke to building chief inspector, so there should not be any. that we're aware of that are outstanding. Regarding, elimination of positions, I'll defer to the mayor. The grant tracking spreadsheet. I have a sample, just to show council, you can pass it around and see if this is something, that is, good, for your review and, reviewing grants within the last several years. To pass that around for, council, so I do have to make some updates, we update it every so often, so it's a static report. The demonstration, not sure where we sit on that currently, I heard, that we may not be presenting tonight, depending on certain factors. Number 8, I think that, yeah, number 8, chief building inspector, for a comment, so if not, we will face that in. Then things regarding that, please let me know.
Go ahead, please.
So, one of the things I asked about was, it's question number 3, where we do have the information here, to provide the projected, health insurance growth. And, a copy of the updated health, self-insured health plan forecast. And so we did have that, and in the consultant says that the program costs have been decreased by, about $1 million to the forecast. So tell me what that means for our budget if the program cost had decreased by about $1 million.
I believe the original forecast was showing 19 million. And if you look, this update showed that basically states that we took certain factors, that different cost savings, and we implemented them, the post formulas, reduce that cost drastically. So that's why you see in our new updated project cost 17.9, but we're still anticipating 17 million in the budget. She sometimes can set the worst case scenario, so we try to set the numbers.
So even though she said the program cost have decreased, we're still gonna stay with the original number? What you're saying?
17 million
Is that our original number?
budget. But I think they.
Mhm.
Yes.
The internal review, preparing the budget, there were numbers that were higher. And let the outside consultant come back and look at mechanisms to reduce the cost. So that's where the budget that was presented to the council took into consideration those factors that are going to hopefully in 26 reduce the overall cost.
I guess my bottom line question is, if they're saying their program cost will decrease, why isn't our projection going to decrease by that?
It's the original forecast of 19 million.
Oh, really? Okay, so that's why I asked you what was our original.
That's why I stated.
19,
Yeah.
and now it's 17?
Yes.
Okay. And also it says, I asked about membership, and so it's decreased, not by a lot, but it's saying that our membership decreased when originally we were saying that it was going to increase. That was one of the reasons for projected increased costs. And this also says that no indication from the city that enrollment is expected to increase for 2026. So it's actually, they decreased that as well. So that's why, I was asking what were all the factors that made this increase so high, and so now they're saying that enrollment's going to be, does not expect to increase. And actually it's like 10 is going to decrease, so. And 10 is not, it's not significant, but also it is significant if they don't expect any increase. And so we're definitely factoring that in as well.
Well, we're still estimating, projecting that in 2025 to be approximately between $17-18 for our cost.
And the other thing that that was part of that, factoring was the GLP-1 medications. So they gave some additional information. So, well, the weight loss for everyone. Sorry, it's on the document that was submitted to us as well. So they have to have prior authorization for this, for to use for weight loss and for medically necessary. If you have this.
Yeah, this is what, our consultant provided to us. So, yes, if it says it there, then that's the case.
But we're not obligated to pay for it. But we should pay for, I'm not obligated to pay for ones that are solely for weight loss is what it says.
There's options the city potentially utilize, pending increasing BMI, or using it medically, for medical reasons only, not for weight. So that's something, the city could look at.
What are we doing currently?
But there's a threshold currently, city the standard criteria, if you look at our restricted prior.
Mhm.
Criteria,
Mm-hmm.
BMI is 30 or 27.
Mm-hmm. And so they also go on to say that there are other plans, other employers that are adopting a more restrictive threshold because the utilization of GLP-1 is gone significantly for more than treating the illness. So that's an option. And
Yes, I just don't know, we have to look into the background of it and see how to play the unions.
that's something that's negotiated with the union, what
I'm
we pay
not
for.
100% sure how to look into it.
Yeah, is that something that,
Sorry,
is that something, so we're talking about the use of GLP-1, the weight loss, to be used for weight loss. And so the question is, if it's for weight loss as opposed to a illness, is that something that's negotiated in the union contracts? Or yeah, increasing the threshold?
we'd have to go back to the contracts and see what specific plans they reference. The PBA references a very specific package from the VP. There's other ones that are out there, so it's not absolute, where I believe we do have some flexibility. But again, it would depend on each bargaining unit.
Because my question was, we're talking about what could happen going forward, but what's happening like right now, where are we with that? And so we're in a position now,
Nobody gets the prescription without having the doctor write a script.
right,
So it depends on what the doctor's decision is in terms of evaluation of that particular patient.
but even this states that we're seeing an increase in it being used for weight management. All right. And so also, do we have a cap on it? Like if it says, this is currently our cap 12 minutes or 12 minutes, 12 consecutive months or 12 total films? Is that currently our cap?
I believe so.
And then it goes on to say that there's also an option to just totally exclude it, for weight loss. So, just making, depending on what our costs are, that might be. There's several options. So I think that should be taken into consideration.
I agree.
Go ahead, please.
And Mr. Gupta, thank you for the clarification and he was deferring to the mayor for question number 5 regarding layoffs, just for the feedback.
Well, it's clever how you back in where I made my recommendation in terms of staff. And you're saying you can't make a decision, but you want to make reductions. And it's gonna have to have the council have a direct participation in that. So, give me what your proposed reductions are in the clerk's office. It's an operation that you oversee the day-to-day operation, understand the people, they work for you, and then I'll reference other departments from that.
Go ahead, please.
So I'd say in response to that, I interpret the conversations that yourself and Mr. Rivera had. The last recommendation that we had was based on those conversations, and in that reference, potential layoffs, one with an option of 21, another an option of 54. It's based on my understanding that you're going to put forth a recommendation, having additional information to understand what that represented.
I never said we were gonna put forth. That was things that have volunteered at the table did not adequately reflect that conversation. It came if there were tax increases of a certain level and that difference had to be made up from reductions in staff. Mr. Gukuma was asked how many individuals that would be. And so he put forth generic numbers to get to the $2 million number or the other targeted number. But I have never advocated for reduction in staff.
And Mr. Rivera, I'll just say for clarity moving forward, that spreadsheet that we received, that should not be under the column 2026 proposed budget. That should be in a column identified as further council recommendations.
Which one is it? This one there?
The spreadsheet we received last.
Actually, what the column should address?
Can you repeat that?
What was the description?
It's listed under expenses, and then layoffs, areas 21, and it's underneath this column, 2026 proposed budget.
Okay.
So, Mr. Rivera, could we just get some clarity on how that came about? Because I know that you and the mayor had conversations that the rest of us weren't present, but so our understanding came out of what was stated after those conversations. So how we got to the possibility of considering layoffs, could you just explain how we got there?
So the conversation was broad, and in terms of that, we were looking at overall costs. Overall revenue, we addressed revenue up and down. And the conversation was moving in terms of the revenue across the board increase. And then we said, let's look at non-labor costs. And I was told that that is bare bone. I mean, the department head came in as far as they can read it. Then we said, okay, well then the only thing that none of us touched on was labor costs. And let's look at labor costs. And then I asked the question, if we were to look at reducing $2 million in costs, well, how many positions would that affected? How many positions would be affected in terms of that? For $2 million, and that's how we come about with 21 position.
With
Isn't that how it we vote, yeah? And then we look at the revenue. We're more comfortable to reduce one or two lines, increase one or two line, or decrease one or two line in revenue. And to come up with the 2 million from a change in general expense. And $2 million in revenue.
Yeah.
So this was really a walking proposal in terms of to look at,
So,
not also factor in some of the changes that we already have in place.
so that came out of discussion with yourself, the mayor's office and
Yes,
finance.
yes,
Just want to make sure, just see how we got there.
yes. So this is just a proposal to show numbers and papers in terms of if we were to do this, 21 acquisition will be affected. So it was not a direct from my council or any other office direct in this, but this is something that it's on the table for consideration because we at this point in time need to reduce costs in order to bring this number down. And if we're saying that we're limited in the amount of revenue we can adjust. And we're limited in the amount of costs, non-labor costs that we can adjust. Then how do we reduce the budget and bring it down from 70% to something more reasonable? Then in all reality, we have to reduce costs. Because I don't see we have five, and I've said this over, I don't see we have 5 members to vote on overriding the tax cap at this percentage. And this is why we started this, I asked to start this discussion to see where numbers are flowing, where we can add some of the council changes into this here. And, come back with a counter proposal in terms of that. And in terms of staffing reduction, I mean, if we can't reduce non-labor costs, then where do we reduce costs?
And I would say in response to that, Mr. Rivera, we barely have a quorum tonight. I imagine this is not missed anyone viewing this meeting. And sincerely, if we are to hope that everyone at this table and not in attendance or be in agreement, which we are not about overriding the tax cap, there need to be other considerations. So unfortunately, my understanding or my interpretation of having the layoff category was no one wanted to be at this current juncture. I understand that, but if we're not making significant decreases to expenses, we're literally just going in a circle as the clock keeps winding down.
And to add to that, I mean, the discussion, I'm trying to recall it was a long discussion, 57 minutes of discussion. I think my suggestion was to not look at one department, but to look at all departments. And to see if there are any reasonable adjustment across all departments. So there is no targeted department. We're not gonna target the city clerk's office because, we need to look at across the board, every department.
But what I'm understanding the mayor to say is that he's not gonna give us anything until we start with the clerk's office. I thought we were just going to look overall. My thought was we we're gonna have something tonight that said, these were the anticipated, these are the places that we could consider if that needed to happen. That's where I thought we were gonna be tonight, at least so we can have those level of discussion.
Yeah, we're open for suggestion, finance committee, myself and Ms. Williams. Suggestion about what we do. Here's a proposal here. Get some numbers. Do we factor in some of our change into this? And submit a counter proposal? That is something that we should discuss. I think we should do that. because reality, we can sit here, and we're gonna say that, the mayor has a right to say that, well, I present the budget and I don't want no cut, vote on my budget as is. But in reality, that's not what the people are asked or wanted out there. We've seen emails and phone calls and texts from everybody, not one person, except for union bosses are saying that we should vote for the budget as is. People are being hard with the amount of increase. And that's what basically we're looking here for, is to bring that increase down. So my suggestion is to incorporate some of our changes into this last week's proposal. And let's do a counter proposal and see where we land in terms of dollar amount and percentage.
I'm not opposed to that. However, I think that we need all the information because we can keep piecemealing this and have meeting after meeting piecemealing it. So if we're going to consider what's being suggested based on our conversation, based on what the council's come up with, then we need everything to look at to be incorporated on any changes.
So what do you mean by everything? What?
If we're gonna talk about anticipated layoffs, we need to see that. And which departments, where, all of it, because that's, otherwise, what Mr. Bukuma gave us last week was simply a number and then divided by how many people and gave us an average. But if we're seriously talking about it, if that's something we seriously have to consider, as been told, I'm told that was part of the conversation that took place, then we need to know where the real considerations are, because that makes a difference on the dollar amount. Because some people make a certain amount, others make a different amount, and their benefits and all of that also are different. So we did need to look at what we're really talking about here. We need to make sure that the insurance information that we have is adequately reflected. And any other changes that we're considering, if you said that your conversation with the mayor said that the revenue projections were too high, then we need to see what the revenue projections that make sense according to what your conversation is. If the revenue projections that you're putting forward, which ones he thinks are reasonable, or you two have agreed are reasonable, or in conjunction with finance. So everything that we're considering needs to be on the table so we can look at one time and then move from there. But having just doing part of it and then come back and then do another part of it, this could go on and on.
Just for clarity, there was no agreement on any numbers.
Well, I don't know how you got to 21. That's what we
No,
got.
there was a conversation that if $2 million, how many
Positions.
positions would fall under that $2 million?
And that-
If we were to reduce labor by $2 million,
And then 21 was the number that
21 that came after.
came as a result of that.
That's where it's going.
Okay. Is that the
In
number
terms
we're
of
gonna
where that 21 spread,
Yeah, is that the number we're gonna use if we consider, are we even gonna consider layers? I mean, we have to come up with what are we gonna do?
but that's what we need to discuss.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying, that everything that, if we're gonna make a consideration, again, I know that we're not on the committee, I'm not on the committee, but if we're gonna make recommendations or considerations, then everything that we can consider, that we wanna consider, would have to be given to finance so they can give us a final number. This is what it's gonna look like.
Mr. Mayor, I can give recommendations with all sincerity and understanding to what this means to anyone listening and also working in City Hall. However, it needs to be received in kind because I have no interest in wasting my time if the mayor is continuing on the path of the best and final that he has is a 17%. I think currently where we're at right now, we couldn't even pass it if we wanted to, correct?
So,
We couldn't even override the tax cap if we wanted to, right?
no, we can't.
Right,
So the reality, there's reality check. Everybody needs to get a reality check that it cannot happen. So we need to get seriously and debate this with a good faith and move forward.
And it's
Sorry,
not,
sorry.
no, thank you for that, emphasizing that point. But I would say that is not to say we're going to proceed down this route, but to Mr. Porterfield's standpoint, we have to look under every stone, and this was the one stone that we've been avoiding, and I understand why, but to not check because of the political fallout, not putting that on anyone, I'm saying it is a tough subject to propose for anyone. I get it. But if we are going to truly look at this, we have to understand that we have to look at it. Or if not, let's just not even waste the time having that half discussion if there's not a collective buy-in to even have it.
Go ahead, please.
Thank you. Were these the only revenues that were with the mayor, and you work, did you two work on these together, thinking they were the higher, okay,
The mayor suggested
right,
that these revenue adjustment,
right, or overinflated, okay.
not,
Maybe.
not over inflated.
Over,
This came from the mayor's proposal
Right.
because he feels that these are accomplishable
right,
with his counter proposal against ours.
right.
So, Mr. Motivary, I have no issues making recommendations. I was just asked that if there are responses, that those are forwarded to the council in a timely manner, giving us information 30 minutes before the council meeting. There'd be no way any of us were able to ascertain the information, or also to fact check it with our positions that we are willing to vote on moving forward.
And that is one thing I repeatedly ask, that information provided ahead of time. You know, I tried my best, I called the commissioner's office, no response today.
I just want to say we're also working on preliminary audit right now. There's a meeting Tuesday tomorrow to Thursday. So we have a lot of work. We only have 3 accountants on staff. So we're trying to get all the information in time with that.
So what I can suggest is that we look at this sheet for next week and we make some adjustment, we counter with some changes up or down. And let's have some numbers that we can look at. That was question 5, question 7. So, can we get a clarification on question 7?
I had spoken to Councilman Farley a little while ago. He indicated he wasn't gonna be here at 5 o'clock, but had asked to maybe set up a time when he could come in and view the system on the end of this week or next week. I told him I would make staff available to do that for him.
So not this group, but for him to just go down the hall and.
Is what he was asking, if we get it set up, if other council members want to sit in, more than willing to make that available. And just for general information, there are some restrictions on, yeah, well, also publicly displaying it in terms of, it's the world we live in now where people, you think everybody's a good person watching this. People have adverse motives in terms of cybersecurity and other things that.
That makes sense.
So you, Mr. Farley's working out your time and dates on that, or is that?
We
just-
did not pick a specific time.
I don't think there's any other outstanding questions, are there?
Well,
Go ahead,
just
please.
a level of clarification. For question number 8, the chief building inspector, I asked about major projects and he said there aren't any for the upcoming year. But didn't we just see an announcement from Metroplex that they're doing this major project on Germania and I think
Yes.
Schenectady
Yes.
Street? So isn't that 2026 large project?
That is similar to Summit.
Or is he considering that a medium-sized project? And so we're only expected to get out of that like $30,000 to $40,000. I'd like to, and then he's saying it's already in the budget. I'd like to see what the breakdown is for Because I counted 12 houses on Summit Avenue. I don't know, I can't remember the number. That's 12 houses that are currently in place right now that are already there. And I don't know what the number, okay, it's gonna be a total of 16. I don't know what the number is for the projects that were just listed. I don't recall it. So I just like to see a breakdown per, if it's per project or per house. It just seems like a pretty low number for that many new buildings for the permit costs. And the other thing that we talked about is a revenue, number 10, which is saying, can we increase the line for the tennis courts? And it just says that the park supervisor is currently working on this request. So I guess the question, Mayor, is to you, how that's being formulated in terms of trying to increase revenue based on the fact that there's going to be a state-of-the-art tennis court as of June 2026.
There's a fee structure that the council put in place a number of years ago.
Mhm.
Which has not been enforced because the cost of collecting money exceeds the revenue generated.
Mhm.
So still evaluating that. How do you put in a system that would have a net revenue as opposed to something that ends up costing us money? And again, depending on what the system going in, you put in some revenue, there's gonna be a cost of either putting in an electronic system, do you have to monitor it in some way? And a lot of these also have a component of, you know, if you charge $1, you have to pay 10 cents in transaction costs. So they're looking at that to have a system, and the US Tennis Association and 15 Love are talking to Mr. Mosaic on something that they believe would be workable, and also just add to the usability or friendliness of having the new facility there, so that it wouldn't deter people from coming in to play or take advantage of the investment we've made.
So we don't anticipate any time in the next couple of weeks that we
I
would have.
didn't say that it's going to be there, but I also don't think it's going to be a huge number.
Okay. It's not a make or break number then.
It's not going to be hundreds of thousands of dollars, but it would be some, probably thousands of dollars. But what's our cost of collecting? So if I told you I felt comfortable putting $10,000 in, and we have to spend 11,000 staffing the position during the summer, or the tennis season goes beyond just our typical summer, the spring to the fall, we're not going to come out ahead of it. So they're trying to look at something that would give us some net revenue.
Thank you.
We also have look at it, we did a pilot, questions asked. You can just look at this and ask any additional questions.
So I do have one question that, maybe Mayor knows this. Do you know how many actual houses are included in Live in Schenectady Phase 2? How many?
I don't.
Just because the first one, I can't remember, but at least 10, I think, maybe more. And for the payment to be only 17,000, I just not sure how we got to that number. It's a low number, in my opinion, for us to be adding more development. So it's just like to be able to understand how those numbers are arrived at. when it's, you know, development that includes multiple dwellings.
Metroplex does the calculations and manages that.
Oh, call Mr. Gill. Thank you.
So looking at this letter here from, Metroplex. In the proposed 2026 budget, 2.816 million in pilot. And Metroplex is saying, 2.952. So we have like about 140,000 lower.
But then we also got the email from the other day, where they said that they were reducing their number. 227. 227, yeah. But then,
So this letter came after.
exactly, this came after.
Yes,
Sorry.
so this letter adjusts the 227 down.
Right.
So there's $140,000 delta.
So what we got on the 4th said is reducing it to 2.5, and then what we got on, what was this said? On the 5th, that number is different. It's now 2.9,
Yeah.
so.
It's an estimation too, so I don't know if it's correct number, what, I mean, you could discuss that with our tax supervisor.
Can this be a follow-up, question and answer, please?
Especially since one day apart, we get different numbers.
Yes. We just want a clarification on the proposed 2026 2.816 million versus the letter from Metroplex of 2.952 million. Also, receive an email from Commissioner in terms of the auditor availability. They are available tomorrow or Thursday. So if we're available tomorrow, we can recess the finance committee and we can meet tomorrow to accommodate the auditors and to ask the outstanding questions. Or Thursday, if Thursday is okay also.
Well, my opinion is that if we're going to ask for additional information from the finance department, if we're going to be asking Mr. Gillen about the pilots and all that, if we're going to try to discuss this all at once, then we just wait until Thursday and have all the information in front of us. Otherwise, that means we meet tomorrow, and then maybe we meet again Thursday, but I know there's a council member who says they can't be here on Thursday.
Is it Thursday completely out?
Two things on Thursday. Workshop at 9.
Mr. Rivera, I could do Friday, but also tomorrow's the going badge ceremony for the police department.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, yes, yeah, we can. Oh, tomorrow's out. Tomorrow's out for everyone. Yeah. So, Thursday or Friday, but we have to do Thursday because the auditors are Friday, Thursday.
But that's what should be up, that's.
So we have to more than likely do is reconvene Thursday.
Well, just keep in mind, this is, we'd like to have everyone present, but this is the finance committee, so what you really need is a form of the finance committee.
Go ahead, please.
What time will they be here? I'm sure are they up here at 9?
5:30. We have to do this meeting at 5:30 because it's hard for some of us.
I know, the auditors
Yeah.
themselves.
They'll be in premises Tuesday to Thursday, and they're available Tuesday night and Thursday night
Oh.
to speak with council.
So could we say 5?
Yeah, we can say 5. We'll have to go run 5 minutes late. We'll try our best. Yes, we can do 5 if that's what majority.
And that would allow, Mr. Toro to get to her, pre-scheduled event.
I am too that night, but I'll go late. I'll go late.
All right,
So it'll be an hour. 30 minutes to an hour.
the meeting,
Mm.
5:30 to 6:30.
I thought it was
To be
different.
considered to Mr. Toro.
No,
Do we need to cut charge and allow you to go to your event in the evening?
I'm gonna start at
my,
five.
my work comes first, so I will put off my day.
Oh, my God.
But seriously, auditors, 5 to 5:30.
5 o'clock. 5 o'clock is good? Because we have, auditors are here, and we don't want to keep them, because
Okay.
they're, and they're for an
So-
hour waiting on us.
Well, yeah, because the other options, we talk to the auditors tomorrow, and then we still have to come back on Thursday. It means that we have to meet 2 days this week.
Are there any questions that we can provide the auditor, to prepare?
I can send out we can send out an email to the entire council asking them if they have any question, they can submit it ahead of time to get answer, or they feel.
I can get questions to Sam by.
Yes. So we'll set up, so that way you have.
So Mr. Rivera, for clarification, are we going to meet at 5 or 5:30 on Thursday?
5.
And Mr. Farm, you know, yes, and
It's,
it's,
it's hard,
Wait, we'd love for everyone to be here.
it's a little tough for me on 5.
okay.
It's serious. So I'm running on late, 5 minutes late, yeah. Can we do 5:30? And that'd be more comfortable,
Okay.
5:15,
5:15.
5:15, yeah, 5:15, got it. All right.
For anything else that we need to make sure that Mr. Bukumuk, or any other questions that the council has that we have to make sure that we ask them all, and then.
I asked them to look at the sheet from last week. Please come back with any changes you may have to add to this.
So, just on question number 6, so the sample grant, you said you're gonna have something for us to look at, not the actual one, Mr. Bukumuk?
I have the printout here, we can make some updates to it. I hadn't had the chance, yesterday to do that, because we're dealing with the getting ready for the audit, so, I can have an updated sheet hopefully by Thursday. Something like that.
Can we see your preliminary? There's a lot more to be added to this.
Updating certain figures, this is a static report, so. You have to go through our accounting software program, and then look at each account line and make the updates within the Excel worksheet.
Oh,
You know, Mr. Rivera, my question is just for clarity. Saying we arrived at the road of having to override the tax cap, when is the absolute last day we can proceed with that to have a budget on time? Well, not for the year.
When is the letter, printout is due? The printout to the taxpayers. Is there a timeline in terms of that?
The normal process starts on for printing the tax bills on January 15th, or excuse me,
Oh,
It's not 15.
with first payment due on January 15th.
And the county's deadline is the 22nd for, they put their, help me out here.
No, we put it.
Right, the county was, right,
Well, the equalization, we have
Equalization, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
yes,
those numbers in place.
on the 22nd of December.
So we have a couple of days, serious couple of days.
Yeah.
Commissioner, I observe you saying that the auditors are in the house. I just want to echo this comment. It is important that we provide all information to the auditors in a timely manner, so that they don't write us up as we're not providing information. When we're dealing with a budget here for the city, and I think it's important too. So if the auditors are important, and I know that it's really important that they need to get information, because I used to do those kind of work. We have to put some consideration in terms of our questions and our answer to the council too, as top priority. And I just want to make that statement. So everything is important. This is very important too. If we're dealing with a budget here, we don't have a budget, and everyone, the taxpayers are looking out for a budget from us. You'll have please.
So I know that we saw that the fire department is getting 2.4 million. And so, and also, so that's partly to hire, I think 10, I believe the number is, and also to do training. So is that in addition to what we've already budgeted in terms of the fire department?
I'm still evaluating whether we're going to be able to accept that grant, depending on how this budget process goes forward.
And what part of, is it, how would that impact? I know that there's a matching grant, is it because, what would it,
We
what
have
part of this
to-
budget?
We have to match some of it, and some of it would increase staffing, which we may not have money to do.
Isn't the grant what's going to pay for the increased
It's not
staffing?
gonna pay for all. And there's mandatory, if you. It's provides funding for the initial years, but it
Mhm.
requires you to maintain staffing in out years that's not budgeted for.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Are there any other discussion? So we have some questions that need to send an email out, or some, or additional information. Seeing now, so we'll reconvene the finance, no, sorry, we'll adjourn, recess the finance committee until Thursday, 5:15 PM. I have a motion. Second, all in favor? Aye.
I'll let that.
The clerk will tell you.
Try to get to you before Thursday.
No. I need about two.
We'll see what we can do.
I don't think it's else.
Yeah.
We can-